All right, hold on. Let me get the chair, step over this mud here because it doesn't stop raining. Why is the Apple savings account not a joint account? Why can the Apple savings account through Goldman Sachs not be a joint account? The credit card is, and the flow is actually very nice. The primary person signs up and then you send a link, you open the contacts, who do you want to be as your joint authorized user, and then you're both, boom, there together. And it was a giant credit limit when we applied on top of that. So I don't know why I was such a slow adopter to Apple Pay. I think it was because of me believing that Bitcoin was going to jump ahead and the Apple would be bullied into adding Bitcoin into the Apple wallet. But that has all been rethought now. And a lot of it comes to this lens of, why is the Apple savings account not a joint account? Tell me if you guys need me to throw up the sources on the screen when I say things like this, or if you're able to just go and research it yourself. But married couples and people that combine their finances have a higher net worth than people that keep their finances separate. There's several articles about that. And it to me, it rings true and rings logical, because the more anything that you work on, the more you focus your efforts and are singularly focusing on something, the more productive it is. And so, yeah, people that combine their finances have a higher net worth than people that keep their finances separate. So when you combine that concept with the fact that Apple is worldwide known for being great at UI, UX and creating these experiences for people, why does it not have the option to add joint users together? Why on our joint credit card is one person's cash back going to their savings account and another person's cash back going to their savings account? Why are not all efforts being focused together? Why do I need to Apple Cash it over to the other person so it shows up as a single balance? That's so confusing and frustrating to me. But here's the larger thing that I think it illustrates and how it ties back into Bitcoin and whether Bitcoin will ever be in the wallet, It's because places are fintechs, and Apple is a giant fintech at this point. The Apple Wallet product is a giant fintech because Apple itself is not a bank. Apple is a technology and hardware producer, right? Software and hardware producer. So they have to partner with a bank. Fintechs are beholden to bank roadmaps. So for whatever reason, my understanding, my belief is that the bank is holding back the ability for them to allow joint users, because Apple, both of them should want more money on the platform. And so I don't understand, though, I understand that a roadmap issue is holding it up at some point, but I don't get why the product managers at Apple and the product managers at Goldman Sachs can't come together and be like, this is a slam dunk obvious thing to do, to add joint users. And maybe it has to do with bigger, broader drama of whether the product is making money or not, because I know there's some other in-depth videos out there about whether Goldman and Apple is breaking up and whether the product was ever successful or not. And then I also understand that Robinhood just launched their credit card, which I guess I've heard is 3% back. I am tired of signing up for new stuff. I'm tired of playing the merry-go-round game of who has the highest interest rate for their savings account and who has the highest cash back for their credit card. And I've heard this from a lot of other people, they've equated this to this is the digital equivalent of coupon cutting. We all saw our parents just do coupon cutting and coupon clipping, and that's what it feels like. It feels like now that there's so many competing fintechs that we have to play so many merry-go-round games of which one's treating us the best and always reshuffling. Over the last 2 years, I've switched our entire family's primary checking account 4 times. Everything, ripped out everything, all of our direct deposit, all of our automatic bill pay. And then when you layer in the understanding that Bitcoin is better than dollars, it further complicates the entire thing, because the amount of fintechs that then are treating Bitcoin as a currency instead of just a ticker symbol lumped in with the stocks is very, very few and far between. And so if Apple, as a renowned company as Apple is not able to make their fintech profitable enough in order to twist the arm of the bank in order to let them have joint accounts for their users because they know that it's a better experience, that I don't understand then what the future is for fintechs like Bitcoin or regular fiat fintechs. I don't understand that. And that's what's frustrating. And that's why I tied to the video that I released just before this, where I'm talking about how I don't want to be a guy who's just talking. I don't want to be the guy who's just talking, because through watching hours and hours of YouTube across genres, it feels like YouTubers are great at talking about what they do and don't like about tech and what they do and don't like about products, but there's a giant disconnect between the people online talking authentically to users and about where they see the industry going, and internally on what product managers can actually accomplish. And that leads me to just really feel like when I'm watching YouTube, I feel like I'm almost in just like this fantasy land of like things that are coming. But in order to experience that future right now, you have to have a folder on your phone filled with 14 different things and spend so much time optimizing between each of them, because each of them only does one widget of like benefit. And that's so frustrating. And I think this, so then you want to talk about growth marketing, and like all these fintechs are looking for like growth marketing and growth hacks. That's the hack. Like that's the hack, is that people are tired of having to be so in the weeds of what wedge feature your thing does better, that the ROI of how that thing legitimately does improve their life just never cuts through the day-to-day business. Just never cuts through the day-to-day business. And so that's how I'm feeling as a user, like, and as a marketer and as a YouTuber, is that YouTubers have, like, I've equated YouTube to like, this is maybe an extreme, but like almost like modern day philosophy, because philosophers, like the philosophers were who they would sit around in the town square and look like they were doing nothing. They would look like they were doing nothing because the highest thing they could think about is knowing themselves, and how knowing themselves then played out to everyone knowing themselves and how that impacts like the future of society. To me, that's what it feels like YouTubers more and more are, because they're almost people that have like graduated from the rat race and then are just pontificating on like the next round of tech to be released, while the people that are still just in the day-to-day are having to use increased amount of attention to dig through all the mixed messages that are out there. And that's why the only real way to do like growth hacking is to build the best product. Like, it has to actually be good. And that makes me scared for fintech if even Apple can't make a joint savings account. This disconnect between YouTubers knowing the future of tech and actually being more in touch with the users, and then the product managers being kind of like faced with so much bureaucracy or so many like speed bumps internally. This is across tech, across fintech, honestly across all companies in general, like is a main blocker to me even like talking in coherent videos, because I keep devolving into like the meta of what I'm saying rather than just saying it. But that's why, because I know what I want to say, but I don't know. It's a legitimate open question on if the future like that I want to say and can articulate is even possible due to the constraints inside these businesses that are building the future.